being here today morning. I won't take... It's audible. Yes. Thanks for being here today morning. For those of you who are first timers to MLS, this would be a new talk, or else this would be something which I've been repeating for so many times. So first timers to the library.
Lot of.
Thanks to them. We have a new bunch of people coming in. I won't take much time, just 5 points. This is a 212-year-old library. We have more than 55,000 books, and we are the oldest, one of the oldest lending libraries in Asia. And still, one of the interesting functioning factors here is we have a home delivery system. And before 50 years, this used to go in trains, carton boxes and all that. So Trichy, Madurai, Tanjavur, this used to go in carton boxes. So coming back to that, that's why the librarians and in-house staff of MLS has always been very, very important, because they have to choose what books go into a particular carton depending on the particular person's interest. So I would like to introduce my team. Uma Mageshwari ma'am, our librarian, and Vinayakan sir will be seeing here. Yes. And then Martha ma, she's been with us for, again numbers, she's been with us for 26 years, him for 15 years, and Martha ma for 42 years. So they are the biggest trends of MLS. And coming back to the talk today, thanks to Avis sir and Vaani ma'am for choosing MLS to be the venue for the happiness conversations. I think happiness has one of the things which kept MLS going for so many years. I stepped into MLS because she was very warm and welcoming. And most of us keep coming back here because of the warmth which the place gives us to be here, and also have a chat. More than the book, it's about how people treat you sometimes, right? Why you keep going back to a place. So that is the reason a lot of our members, senior members from 80 years to 95, they are the maximum number we have. And they would keep coming, and then they would ask very, very small question, is this book available? We would say no, and then next time that book would be here. And sometimes when a book is torn, you give it back to them. While coming back, it will be neatly covered with a number, and then they would come and give it back. Such was the importance of books to our members also. And we are very, very happy to officially inaugurate our ramp, which would be very useful for all our members today. And thank you all, thanks to all our sponsors and members who made that happen. And this is not just a ramp for us. We are planning to give it to throughout DPI, because most of the teachers come here for discussion, and also for other places. If they need to make a space accessible for an event, we would be very happy to share our ramp, mobility ramp, to other spaces as well. And coming back to Sundari, so I have 2 minutes, and 2 minutes is very, very less to talk about Sundari today. The first time when I saw her books poster, we were in a children event, and that's why they got it was from Avis sir's one of the posts, the yellow wrapper. We were in a children event, and all the kids were like, this is a kid's book. A bee jumping in, and then the yellow color page, and they got so excited. So I wanted to buy the book. So I go to the book fair. Book fair was happening, and sometimes things happen when you don't plan, right? I was stepping out of the book fair, and I saw her and Amma right outside the book fair. So I went in, the book was not available on the particular day, so I ran back to her and then asked her, where do I get the book? It was not particularly there. So then Notion Press got the book, and we did a couple of readings here, and for our children in Andronodiyam and a couple of other places also, and they really loved it. So I think sometimes I would like to quote Mutaya sir's word, everyone has a story to tell. You just have to know how to word it. So I think there are so many stories and happy moments to share today. I won't take much time. Over to Avis sir and Vaani ma'am for making this beautiful event happen today. Thank you, and thanks Sundari for being here, and Sundari's family as well. Thank you.
Thank you, TS. Thank you.
Welcome, Sundari, to Happyness Conversations. Avis and I want to thank Tripura Sundari, Seville and Madras Literary Society and all the people that work here, to help us conduct this event. It's amazing. Thank you so much. We want to thank Odyssey Bookstore also because Odyssey has actually been the venue sponsor for almost all our events, many of our events in fact. This particular event we could not host it at Odyssey, but they've been kind enough to send across whatever the support we offer in terms of the standee banners and things like that. So we thank them as well. People can't hear in the back. People at the back, can you hear? You can't?
Not audible. No, it is on.
It is on.
He's on the mic. Okay, just throw your voice.
Is it better if I speak like this?
Under my face.
Is it better? Yeah. So I was just thanking Madras Literary Society, and I was also thanking Odyssey Bookstore for their support. Thank you so much. I would also like to thank Sundari for agreeing to be here for this conversation. I want to introduce Sundari before I let Avis say a few words about how we know Sundari. Sundari is a communication professional. She's done her master's in communication. She has a 10-year career in both banking and in media. And right now, she works with the CSR wing of the HCL Foundation. So she's an amazing writer. Those of you who've not seen her book, it's called A Bumblebee's Balcony. This is the book that she's written. It's amazingly well written, and if you want to pick it up, it's available here for sale right after this event. Sundari, apart from being an author, is also an avid painter. I've seen some of her paintings. She's very talented with painting as well. So that's Sundari Sivasubbu for you. Avis?
Thank you. I'll throw my voice. I hope I'm audible at the back. Doing good? Okay. So, welcome to the Happiness Conversations. This is an amazing location to host it. It's an iconic location, and I'm particularly privileged to be in conversation with Sundari today. Vaani and I both are great fans of Sundari, and this conversation has been in the works for a couple of years now. And I'll tell you the story of how it has come about today. But before that, I want to do a quick introduction to Vaani and me. Those of you who know us will know us. This might be a repetition, but for those who are new, let me introduce ourselves. So that's Vaani, my soulmate, my friend, and me, Avis. We are the happynesswalas. Our life's purpose, we believe, is inspiring happiness. We have a very fascinating, life-changing experience that we are going through, the two of us. Google us when you get the time, happynesswalas, HAPPYNESSWALAS. That's happynesswalas. So you'll read up about us. But just to give you an overview, we are for almost 12 years now dealing with a bankruptcy. This means for the longest time in this decade and over a decade now, we've been dealing with a situation where there has been no money or work. And going through this time, we discovered that life is very, very challenging. When you are living without money, it's extremely challenging. The pain is excruciating. And yet, we discovered something beautiful, something very meaningful. We discovered that it was possible for us to be non-worrying, non-frustrated. You make the efforts but they're not adding up. You learn to be non-frustrated. And you learn to be non-suffering. Pain நிறைய இருக்கு, ஆனால் அதுலேருந்து வர சஃபரிங் எப்படி அவாய்ட் பண்ணுறதுன்னு கற்றுக்கிட்டு. எப்படி என்றால் இந்த ஏன் என்ற கேள்வி கேட்டால் தான் சஃபரிங். You have pain and that's an event. The moment you ask why, you start suffering. So we stopped asking that question why. When we learned to be non-worrying, non-frustrated, non-suffering, we discovered that is happiness. And we said, hey, this is interesting. We are not successful, vetri varamattengirudhu. We are not able to earn money and repay our debt and come out of our situation, but we can be useful. How we can be useful nu yosichapodhu, we said, let's go and tell our story to people. And so in 2014, I wrote my book, Fall Like a Rose Petal, How to Be Happy and Content While Living Without Money. That's what this book is about. And when the book came out, people started inviting us to deliver talks. We started meeting a lot of beautiful people like you, compassionate, loving, kind people. And our life completely changed. Arthamillada vazhkaiyila oru artham perundhu. And it became very magical actually. Through the process, I had been writing a blog, people started connecting with me on the blog. We reworked our business model and we offered to people workplace happiness perspectives, which is how can you take life lessons on happiness and share it with managers so that they become more efficient with what they're doing. That's what we do with our workplace happiness firm, AV initiatives. And finally, we have been for the last 5 years doing conversations in public spaces in Chennai. The happiness conversation is one of 3 conversations that we do. That's our background. Inni kaalila, I'm going to introduce now the conversation itself, happiness conversations. Inni kaalila, naanga rendu perum 5 manikku elundiruchu coffee saapttom. And a song popped up on my playlist. இது ரொம்ப பழைய பாட்டுங்க. சுமை தாங்கிங்கிற படம் 1962 ஜெமினி கணேசன் நடித்த படம், சிவி ஸ்ரீதரன் டைரக்ட் பண்ண படம். அதில் இசை விஸ்வநாதன் ராமமூர்த்தி அண்ட் பாடல் பாடியவர் பி.வி. ஸ்ரீனிவாஸ். இந்த பாடல்லேருந்து ஒரு 4 வரி சொல்ல போகிறேன். எனக்கு பாட வராது, அதனால் சொல்ல போகிறேன். ஏன்னா அது இந்த ஹாப்பினஸ் கான்வர்சேஷனுக்கும் சுந்தரி கூட இருக்கிற கான்வர்சேஷனுக்கும் ரொம்ப பொருத்தமானது. ஸோ அந்த பாடல் எப்படின்னாக்கா, மயக்கமா கலக்கமா, மனதிலே குழப்பமா, வாழ்க்கையில் நடுக்கமா. நம்ம எல்லாருக்கும் இந்த சிச்சுவேஷன் பொருந்தும். பல நேரங்களில் வாழ்க்கையுடைய விசித்திரமான விளையாட்டுகளில் நம்ம சிக்கிக்கிட்டு இருக்கும்போது இந்த மயக்கமா கலக்கமா, மனதிலே குழப்பமா, வாழ்க்கையில் நடுக்கமாங்கிற சிச்சுவேஷன் வரும். அந்த பாடலுடைய லாஸ்ட் ஸ்டான்ஸா அது சொல்றதுக்கு முன்னாடியே எனக்கு புல்லரிக்குது. கண்ணதாசன் எழுதியிருக்காரு, என்ன அற்புதமாக எழுதியிருக்காரு. ஏழை மனதை மாளிகையாக்கி இரவும் பகலும் காவியம் பாடி. ஏழை மனதை மாளிகையாக்கி இரவும் பகலும் காவியம் பாடி. நாளை பொழுதை இறைவனுக்கு அளித்து நடக்கும் வாழ்வில் அமைதியை தேடு. தேங்க்யூ எம்சி ஃபார் ஹெல்பிங் தட். நாளை பொழுதை இறைவனுக்கு அளித்து நடக்கும் வாழ்வில் அமைதியை தேடு. லிவிங் வித் வாட் இஸ், எது இருக்கோ அதை வச்சுக்கிட்டு சந்தோஷமா இருக்கிறதுக்கு. அண்ட் கடைசியில் சொல்றாரு, உனக்கும் கீழே உள்ளவர் கோடி, நினைத்து பார்த்து நிம்மதி நாள் அப்படின்னு சொல்றாரு. ஸோ கவுண்ட் யுவர் பிளெஸிங்ஸ். அண்ட் தட்ஸ் வாட் வி ட்ரை டு டூ இன் ஹாப்பினஸ் கான்வர்சேஷன்ஸ். வி சே தட் தி மைண்ட் இஸ் இம்பவரிஷ்ட். அதுதான் ஏழை மனது. The mind is impoverished, it's steeped in scarcity thinking. இந்த மைண்ட் என்ன செய்யணும்னா தொடர்ந்து எது இல்லையோ அதை தான் ப்ளே பண்ணிட்டு. அண்ட் மாளிகையாக்கி, எப்படி ஏழை மனதை எப்படி மாளிகையாக்கிறதுக்கு அவர் என்ன சொல்றாருன்னா, கவிஞர், that you have to do what you love doing. அவர் கவிஞர். ஸோ ஏழை மனதை காவியம் பாடின்னு சொல்கிறாரு. ஸோ மாளிகை ஆக்கி காவியம் பாடுன்னு சொல்கிறாரு. அவருக்கு காவியம் வரும், உங்களுக்கு என்ன வருமோ அதை செய்யுங்க. சந்தோஷத்தில் நீந்துங்க, drown in happiness, immersion. That's what he says. So that's what this conversation series is all about. We explore the lived experiences of our guests, and everyone has got a story. You have a story, we have a story. We explore those stories and we understand what it takes for different people to be happy. So today's conversation is for 90 minutes and we'll be on time, so we will end at about 12:15. That's the target for us, and we will hand it back to TS for closing remarks. This format is a conversation, it's not an interview, it's not a talk that Sundari is going to deliver. And in this format, we, both Vaani and I, will be in conversation. And we will be in conversation with Sundari, she will be sharing her perspectives. If we are on time and we are doing great on time, we will not be having a Q&A. If the conversation is flowing, we will not be having a Q&A. You're free to interact with Sundari after the conversation, stay on, buy her book, get her signature, take pictures with her, and engage with Sundari, engage with Vaani. If we finish early, and I do see that we have some time, we will see if we can squeeze in a Q&A, but don't bank on it. Let's go with the flow, okay? Now coming to Sundari. We met Sundari because she wanted to attend one of our conversations at Odyssey bookstore in Adyar a couple of years ago. This is a series that we run there called Bliss Catchers. And when Sundari came to Odyssey bookstore, she found out that she could not come up to the floor on which the event was being held because they don't have an elevator. And she was planning to leave the store, and we were exiting after the program, and I don't know how, we started talking to her. And what struck me and Vaani is, let me change the position of the chair, interfering with the speaker at the back. So what happened was, we connected with her and started talking, and what struck me and Vaani was her big expressive eyes, that famous Sundari smile, okay? And she was making an impact on us in that brief conversation that we had with her, maybe a few minutes. I got into the Uber and I remember telling Vaani, this girl has a very powerful story. A couple of years passed by, we stayed in touch. She came for some of our other programs when they were conducted at accessible venues. And she reached out to me last year and said, Avis, will you write the foreword for my book? Now, I'm not somebody who immediately agrees to read anybody else's manuscript. Although I'm a writer myself, I don't normally agree. But something in me told me, there is a powerful story here. So I accepted the offer to write the foreword. And when I read the book, I was even more convinced that this is a story that we must explore for happiness conversations. And finally, after almost 3 years of meeting Sundari and realizing that there is a story that we need to explore, we have an accessible venue and the conversation for this morning. So thank you. That's the story behind Sundari Sivasubbu being in conversation with Vaani and me at the happiness conversations. Thank you for being here.
You speak so beautifully. I wish I could listen to you instead of having to talk.
You speak beautifully too, and I'm eager to hear you.
And you write so well.
You write so well.
I write better than I talk. That's right.
Okay, so let's get started with the conversation. I have an opening question. I have a take on this question myself, but I'd probably let you speak and then come back with my thoughts on it. In your book, the title of the book, A Bumblebee's Balcony, the tagline below the title says, Celebrating Life with Cerebral Palsy. celebrating life with cerebral palsy. So my question to you, Sundari, first question. How can you celebrate life when you have a problem? You're saying celebrate life with cerebral palsy, and cerebral palsy is normally seen as a problem. How do you celebrate life? How do you see this perspective to call it a celebration? So can you share a little bit about why you call it a celebration?
Before I delve into my experiences on why my life is a celebration, I'd like to say a little bit about the Bumblebee as well, since the tagline comes below the Bumblebee. So, how many of you know the story of the Bumblebee girl? Am I audible at the back? No. And he concluded that the bumblebee should not be able to fly because its wings are not like other insects and the body is not like other insects. It's kind of stout and the wings are very small and it doesn't flap its wings like in the traditional manner, the usual manner what we all know about. So they even published in scientific journal that the bumblebee cannot fly because of so and so reasons. There was solid evidence. But you know what? The bumblebee has been flying right from the time it was created by God. It has been flying in its own way, not conforming to how insects are supposed to fly. It doesn't conform to any standards or norms. It flaps its wing and it prepares its wings forward and backward and flies. This is a story. This is a story. This is a paper. We don't know how much of it is. Nobody saw Bumblebee from the time it was created. But this is the story which talks about life as a celebration. The Bumblebee's life is a celebration because it happens in the backdrop of an improbability. It happens in the backdrop of an impossibility. It was not supposed to fly, but it is flying. It's fulfilling its purpose of pollinating. It's going on about its work in a quiet manner. So in my life, let me just draw a parallel here. I have an 11-month-old nephew at home. And just 2 weeks back, he got into a small table. He climbed onto that, gave a victory dance, but he was not able to come down. So he started crying. And his mother was busy somewhere. He kept on crying and extended his hands to me. I knew that I could not even lift a water bottle. So I didn't know whether I should go and help him out. Viswanathan, I'll take a chance and I went. I went down, fortunately I didn't fall over him. And I have dragged him, half lifted him. He began to look at me suspiciously and he came for Valu. But he came. He trusted me and he came. And I lifted him and put him on the floor. It's a very small thing. But to me it was a celebration. Why? Because he's 11 months old. In a couple more months, he will become stronger than me. His body balancing will be better than mine. He'll be able to hold this tumbler of milk while I keep on talking my tumbler. Yeah. In a couple of more months, I will ask him to open my pen. I'll ask him to open my face. He'll become stronger than me. So that moment was a celebration for me. So like that, when I was 12, when I was attention to my 12th standard, I was diagnosed with Cerebral Palsy, which is a progressive vision loss condition. And my ophthalmologist said that I may go blind completely by the age of 35. And I was asked to wear contact lens. I have coordination problem. So wearing the contact lens is a glass, gap permeable. So wearing it every day and not breaking it whenever I fall down and managing my studies and everything, it seemed completely impossible. Going blind seemed a better option. But yesterday I turned 35, and I can see everyone here. And I've read about 1,000 books in the last 70 years from the time I was diagnosed with this condition. So every celebration is even more profound in the backdrop of the problem. It doesn't mean that we celebrate life only when we have everything sorted out for us. We celebrate when nothing is happening the way we want it. We still celebrate. One more, just 2 weeks back, we had another checkup and we found that my lungs are not functioning well. So today, every breath I breathe is a celebration. We've started treatment for that, but I don't know. That is not my problem. I don't know where it is going, whether the treatment will be successful or not. It's not my problem at all. All I do today is I celebrate every breath. So that's how these moment celebrations became a bunch of celebration in one life.
So beautiful, so beautiful. Thank you. I'm drawing one line from what she said. Every celebration is profound in the backdrop of the problem. See, look at our life. Now, we probably may not be able to relate to cerebral palsy. We probably may not be able to. Unless you have been through a bankruptcy, you probably may not be able to relate to what I'm going through and what Vaani is going through. Unless I go through what you are going through, I may not be able to relate to it. But in general, the way we look at the word celebration or the word happiness, we look at it as a moment to rejoice when you get what you want. Now, many times in life, two other possibilities exist. One is you may not get what you want, or what you don't want will come into your life. Many times these possibilities exist. So when you get a raise, you get an income raise, when you get a newborn baby at home, when somebody proposes to you, you find a companion in life, or you win a jackpot, you throw a party, you dance, you celebrate. But Sundari என்ன பாயிண்ட் அவுட் பண்றாங்கன்னாக்கா, நம்ம பெரிய லாட்டரி அடிச்சு நம்ம ஜெயிச்சு வந்திருக்கிறது இந்த ஹியூமன் ஃபார்ம். இந்த வாழ்க்கை இருக்கிறதுனால தானே ஆசைன்னு ஒன்று வருது, ஒரு வாண்ட்னு ஒன்று பிறக்குது. ஸோ இந்த வாழ்க்கையே ஒரு செலிப்ரேஷன் சொல்றாங்க. What happens with my lungs is not my problem, she says. That will go happen on its own. But every breath I take, I will celebrate. Adula da and the secret for happiness. Living with what is. Unakkum kizhe ullavar kodi. So there are many who are struggling with situations worse than yours. Neithu paru nimmadi naan. That is celebration. That is what Sundari is talking about. Thank you. That was a very powerful start for the morning. You want to go on?
I'm actually not sure many of us here know, all of us know that Sundari was born with cerebral palsy, but I'm not sure many of us know what cerebral palsy is all about. So I'm actually going to read out a small definition that I picked up. It says, cerebral palsy is a neuroskeletal and muscular condition that limits most physical activities and poses severe challenges in day-to-day living, causing problems with vision, hearing, balancing, coordination, muscle power and motor skills. So when you hear this definition, I think you'll understand that what is very normal for all of us, like holding your water bottle and taking a swig of water, is just not so easy for Sundari. Okay, a fan blowing air into your face is nice for us, but not so for Sundari. Yeah, because she's scared. She said she wears contact lenses, and she's scared that the contact lenses will come out. You know, many of you might be wondering why she has to do with a mic on a stand. That's because she can't hold a mic like us for a very long duration. And that's where, you know, what she said about celebrating every little moment. It's not about celebrating something very big. Celebrating life is about every little moment. What she said about picking up her little nephew, 11-month-old nephew, who had climbed a table and didn't know how to climb down. Bringing him down successfully is a celebration. So every moment is a celebration. So let's not wait to celebrate life on special occasions and on days when things that we want happen. They may not necessarily happen the way we want them to. So Sundari, I have a question for you. I'm curious to understand, how is it that you don't feel bitter that, these things happen to you? From your book, I understand that as soon as you were born, the first 1 hour of, just after you were born, was very critical to the condition that you have today. And how is it that it doesn't cause you any bitterness? For the benefit of the audience, there's a very powerful paragraph. I'm going to read that paragraph from Sundari's book. This is actually from the last paragraph of the prologue. It's called The Forgotten Cry. I did not cry when I was born. As I made feeble attempts to suck in the precious air around me, the cells in the lower part of the brain, the cerebellum, began to die, one by one. If time turners were not just mere elements of science fiction, the first hour could have been replayed differently. Somebody could have pinched me hard enough to send me howling. They would have woken up the cells and set things in order. Having chosen to write a non-fiction and not a flight of fancy, let me stick to the actuals. Within that first hour, thousands of tiny cells in the cerebellum switched off peacefully, one by one, permanently, irreversibly. That's from Sundari's book. Sundari, I also realized that for a long time, I think even up to the age of 9, your caregivers, essentially your parents, had no clue or idea how to treat this condition. In fact, they did not even know the name Cerebral Palsy till you came to Chennai. And a lot of probably precious time was lost, in trying to teach you how to walk or to make your legs stronger because they believe something wrong with your legs. So, how is it that it doesn't make you bitter? Do thoughts come to you that could someone have not pinched me when I was born so that, I could have just screamed and things would have been all right? Or could somebody not have told my parents what this condition was about? Maybe if I had received therapy earlier. But you're full of life. I mean, I don't see you complaining or feeling bitter.
Well, I'm someone who believes which is your wise and what ifs, But that doesn't mean that such thoughts never cross. They did. We are not saints, and we have gone through every emotion to be here and check after. So those 9 years, yes, it was a blindfolded, a marathon. We didn't know where we were going. And I was just watching my parents going from one hospital to the other, going from one treatment to the other. I was not too affected because, I don't know, for some reason it did not affect me. Because I was just watching them as an observer. And of course I did not like doing the exercises or those things affected me, but I was watching them going to each hospital or whenever they had to meet a new doctor, they would go with so much of hope. There was so much of positivity and excitement that day. But when we come back, the hope will come further down. So I was watching this cycle, and not just hospitals and medicines, it was also about going to temples, mosques, churches, and it was just I also noticed my extended family, my cousins, my other cousins, that whenever we pray at a puja or when we go together to temple, they will say, Akanatano, Sami Akanat. So it was all about having to walk. It was all about, once she walks, she'll be fine. We can start with it. It was like that. I remember my mother, at one point she was walking without chappals. She completely avoid chappals because somebody had told her you walk without chappals, and she was like, no, my daughter was not able to wear chappals or shoes or walk. So why do I need chappals? I put on chappals once, she starts walking. So everybody was waiting for that miracle to happen. Walk, and then it will be alright. And only after we came to Chennai, and I was 9 years old, and when we learned about Cerebral Palsy for the first time, it was like a big relief. Ideally, it should have been like a dead end, knowing that your condition is permanent. It should have been a dead end. It should have been like a door closed on your face. But to us, it was like all the doors open. Because there was no more staring at something which was unpredictable, something which we don't know whether will happen or not. And it was only after we learned about Cerebral Palsy and we learned about the irreversibility of the condition, we began to focus on skills that I already had, which we ignored since until then. So it was only at 9 they began to, after school, we have specialists here from the special school, they know the importance of early intervention. So for Cerebral Palsy, it should have been done in the first few years, before 5 years old, right? 6 years. So after that, the exercises and physiotherapy will be a part of my life. But I also have other aspects of my life which we began to focus on. So, till 9, yes, there was a lot of goodness. There was a lot of whys. And I had also asked it when I was very young, I remember. It seemed that I was the only one who could not walk and everybody was standing. I also had a sense of guilt. Because people around me made me feel that I was not trying enough. So plant your feet properly and stand, I was not trying, but I'm not standing. So I didn't know how to explain to them. I didn't know, because I myself did not understand the condition for a long time. So, the moment we accept it, the moment we embrace the permanence of the condition, permanence of the so-called problem, like we began to live life without it.
This is so amazing that you talk about acceptance, because I think every problem, irrespective of what the problem is, the more you ask why, why me? Why should it happen to me? The more you ask that question, the farther you're going away from your own happiness. And I admire the fact that you said that when after 9 years, when you came to know that this is what my condition is, there was a sense of relief, because at least you now know why is it that you're not able to walk like the others. At least now people know that it's not because you're not trying hard enough or whatever, but as you said, the acceptance that okay, this is my life, now what can I do with it? This is so important, and I think in everybody, a lot of people here, I'm sure, can relate to this importance of acceptance of it's only when you accept can you move on. Because if you don't accept, then there's no question of moving forward. Because you're constantly in a mode of suffering. And suffering, according to me, is actually a human invention. Okay, pain comes to everybody. Pain comes to everybody in different forms. Okay, for her it's a cerebral palsy, for somebody else it's a cancer, for Avis and me it came in the form of a bankruptcy and a huge problem with cash crunch. We were asked to do things and we had literally no money. So as long as you look at only the problem, then you feel that, oh my God, you're sitting like this with why? But as she said, the minute the acceptance comes, then everything seems easy and everything seems possible. Thank you for that answer and thank you for being so honest, saying that, yeah, you did feel bitter sometimes.
I just want to add one thought here to what Sundari and Vaani just shared. When we began to understand that we had a problem, we also went to mosques, temples, churches. There is a Shiva shrine near Trichy called Rina Vimochana Lingam. Rina is debt. So we went there, did pujas, but it's not going away. So somebody sent us to meet a Siddha Yogi. And we went to meet that Siddha Yogi and we thought, the Siddha Yogi is going to prescribe a solution. The Siddha Yogi looked at me and Vaani and said, he didn't know who we were. He had no idea who we were. He didn't know our name, there was no appointment, and he doesn't accept money. He looked at both of us and he said, Enna sir, kadana? Do you have debt? I said, yeah, kadan, yeah, prachana. So he said, unga kadana neenga nesikka aarambiga. Look at the word nesikka. There is no equivalent in English for that. Which is embrace, love it, accept it. And I said, what a ridiculous suggestion. How can you embrace your problem? You're going through a relationship crisis. How can you embrace a divorce? You're going through cancer. How can you embrace cancer? You're going through cerebral palsy. How can you embrace cerebral palsy? How can you embrace your problem? Until I resisted accepting that we have a problem, I suffered. The day I decided, I wrote, and I always have a habit of writing down what I'm feeling. The day I wrote on a piece of paper, this is it. I am bankrupt. Next what? Then the suffering stopped. The pain is there. The bankruptcy has not gone away. So that is a lived experience that I can relate to. Yours is a different condition, ours is a different condition. So let me go on and ask you my next question, which is actually connecting to what I just said and what you also shared. It's very difficult to survive any prolonged problem that refuses to go away. It is very difficult. It's tightrope walking every single day. In your case, it's also an irreversible condition. At least in a financial situation like ours, we both can be hopeful somewhere that something will open up, a way will come. But in a cerebral palsy condition, it's irreversible. Who or what has helped you immensely in accepting and in making every day a small celebration for you? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Living with a lifelong condition does take its toll from time to time. There's no denying that. And I think once you understand, it is about understanding, it's about embracing, that word embracing. The moment you embrace your life with its flaws and with its conditions, once you understand the limitations without denying the limitations, I think you will get the strength and the means to balance out what is not there. And in my case, I've been abundantly blessed in terms of my family. I think they kind of outdid a lot of damage which is caused by cerebral palsy. I don't know how to put it, but when you don't have something, there will be something else in your life to do the balancing act. And in my case, it's been my family, especially my mother. And because she was like a springboard, I could always come and, rant and cry to her. I could, bash life as I could do anything, and still at the end of the day, I can feel good about life. I can feel good about having this body. And it was a day-to-day, it took day-to-day work. Doesn't mean that tomorrow I can be completely, what do you say? I cannot say that every single day will be the same. It takes a lot of work and decision to inspire yourself every day. And there will be other pursuits which I give myself education in terms of writing, painting, poetry, and friends. A lot of other beautiful things were in my life which balanced out the challenges faced. But yes, I would say physically, financially, emotionally, psychosocially, there is the element of vulnerability all the time, and I'm aware of that. But still, I choose to hope because there's so much I have, I still have. So, this is how I replenish my inspiration every day with a lot of support from my family and friends.
I'm just soaking it all in. And I've read the book. I've known Sivagami as long as we've known Sundari. The real hero of her book is actually, and her life, is actually Sivagami. And there are two takeaways for me from what you just said. One is emotionally, socio-psychologically, I replenish myself. That's what you have to do. If you have to last a torrid time, you have to take it one step at a time, one day at a time, one moment at a time. Do not expect a magic wand to come and solve your problems overnight. It is not happening. We think, கடவுளை கும்பிட்டா நாளைக்கு பிரச்சனை முடிஞ்சிடும், அஸ்ட்ராலஜரை பார்த்தா நாளைக்கு பிரச்சனை முடிஞ்சிடும், செருப்பு போட்டுக்காம நடந்தா நாளைக்கு பிரச்சனை முடிஞ்சிடும். நான் கையிலெல்லாம் மோதிரம் போட்டிருக்கேன் பிரச்சனை போறதுக்காக. அப்புறம் என்னோட அஸ்ட்ராலஜர் என்னை பார்த்து கேட்டாரு, என்ன சார் கையிலெல்லாம் மோதிரம் போட்டிருக்கீங்க? நான் சொன்னேன், சார் இது ஒரு ஜெமாலஜிஸ்ட் கொடுத்தாரு, எல்லாத்துலேயும் போட்டுக்க சொன்னார், இது வந்து ராகுக்கு, இது வந்து கேதுக்கு அப்படின்னு நான் எனக்கு தெரிஞ்ச நேரத்தில் நான் எக்ஸ்பிளைன் பண்ணேன். அவர் சிரிச்சார். சிரிச்சுட்டு, என்ன ஏவிஸ் சார் படிச்சவங்களா இருக்கீங்களே, கல்லால விதியை மாற்ற முடியுமா சார்? So what is your design? Life will play out according to that. The other point I pick up from you is when something goes wrong, when one department shuts off, some other department will thrive. In her case, it's the family led by a woman of phenomenal substance, Sivagami. அவங்க தாங்கி அந்த சுமை தாங்கிங்கிற வேர்டுக்கு அன்பால தாங்கின ஒரு emblem she is. Would I be right? And அந்த புக்கை படிச்சாலே you get that feeling that without that rock support this would not have been possible. And கொஞ்ச நாள் முன்னாடி when we met Sivagami and Sundari at their home, I remember using this word to describe Vaani. தமிழ்ல ஒரு வார்த்தை இருக்குங்க, துணைவி. அதுக்கு ஆங்கிலத்தில் you can't translate it. You can say companion, you can say wife, you can say lover, soulmate, but soulmate falls very weak to the word துணைவி. எனக்கு எல்லா சைட்லேருந்தும் எங்களுக்கு அடி வாங்கின போது கூட துணைவியா இருந்தது வாணி. So that is the beauty of life. Somebody asked her in one program we were doing like this, we were in a conversation. Somebody asked her, Avis to da paname illiye, why, how come you are still with Avis? So she said, I met him when I was 20 and he was 19. And he didn't have panam at that time. Today also he doesn't have panam. But he hasn't changed. The person has not changed. His value systems have not changed. And I think her ability to see me in that light. அதுக்கு பெரிய மனசு வேணும். அதனால தான் நான் I could relate to the point you were talking about, that when something shuts out, something else thrives. And it's not as dark as we think it is. There may be a physicality to the darkness, but adhula or artham. Inniki, if it had not been for her cerebral palsy, she would not have learned what it means to celebrate life. If it had not been for our bankruptcy, we would not have learned to come and talk about happiness, because we've experienced it while living through it. There, a wonderful lady is sitting there, Neerja Malik, 2-time cancer survivor, conqueror of cancer. And she has been able to talk to people and inspire them. She's written a book called I Inspire. She would not have written that book, which has touched thousands of people, if it had not been for her crisis. So a crisis நம்ம வாழ்க்கையில வருதுனாலே அதுக்கு ஒரு அர்த்தம். There is a reason why it comes. That's what we have learned, and it always makes you, it might be hard to believe if you're going through a crisis. You may not be able to immediately wrap your head around this, but every crisis makes you stronger, it makes you wiser, and very, very important, it makes you happy. Right? So that's what I had to say. Now, I had a question for you. Or is it, sorry, it's time for me first or
Sundari, when we opened this conversation, you told the audience about the Bumblebee. Maybe some people who came in later missed that. Basically what she said was the Bumblebee as an insect is not meant to fly. Okay, the scientific journals had calculated the wingspan of the Bumblebee and the weight of the insect and the fact that it can't flap its wings very fast, and published saying this insect cannot fly. But irrespective of that, the bumblebee flies, which is why this book is called The Bumblebee's Balcony. So I just want you, Sundari, to share with us what goes on in your bumblebee's life every day. What happens? I mean, you are an author, you're a poet, you paint, you talk to people, you keep a full-time corporate job. How do you do all this? I mean, what goes on? Can you describe your life to us?
That I just finished one conversation which I had with one of my cousins. This is a cousin whom I lost touch with in between. And then we were talking over the phone, and she had completed her master's and taken up a job as a teacher. To me, it sounded very exciting to work as a teacher with kids. And I was asking her, so how do you like your job? She was like, oh, wait. Oh, so you don't like it? I have a job, and I thought, wait, you really wanted that, right? I asked her. Yeah, I have it. What's going on? Okay, so what are your hobbies? We were coming to the hobby. She said, hobby, I learned a corner. So do you paint now? Do you paint color at the time? Do you know cooking? Okay. Adamma some bangana sample. So I was like, I don't know, further, go ahead to the conversation. So I was like talking a lot about my hobbies in my life, and which is very mundane, but to me it was like amazing. And I was trying to get some kind of appreciation for life from her, but all I got was so a lot of sighs, and I don't know what to go there. So I think it defines a lot of lives around us.
Correct.
This is our I'm not judging. I'm sorry if I sounded like judging. In my case, the decision to be happy starts from the moment I get up in the morning. Before I get up in the morning, in fact, because I need help to get up from the bed. So sometimes I wake up with a lot of that. I wake up with a lot of, I wake up with swelling in my feet. In addition to cerebral palsy, other health issues. Thyroid and PCOD. So you know how people with thyroid pain sometimes, thoroughly at war with the world, fatigue can be extremely, what do you say?
Yeah, challenging.
Yeah. So I wake up with that kind of physical and emotional state sometimes. But I lie on bed and I try to plan the day. I have to get through the day with this kind of pain. And I would prioritize. I would think about all that I have. This is a daily exercise. I'm not telling just for the sake of audience, but this is a daily exercise. Some days are good, so I don't have to spend a lot of time pondering. But most of the days I would plan out the day. I would think, what is that I really need to get done? And because I have a full-time job, I work from home and I have flexibility, but still, targets are targets. And I'm part of a regular team. There are no concessions or anything of that sort. So I keep working on this in my mind. And by the time I call my mother or my assistant to help me get out of the bed, I fill myself with a lot of joy and confidence for the day. Because I have to pass it on to them. They're coming and helping me, and she'll help me use the restroom to get dressed. And I'm not I'm not easy to be with. So I have my own tantrum that. Already again, so it's completely. So, yeah. By the time my mom comes into the room, I wish her, and she wishes me back, and we get going with David. Being mindful of every word we speak, being mindful of every action. Because my energy levels are extremely good. I'm collapsed in between the day. I will have to lie down, take rest, and then get on with the rest of the day. So there's a lot of planning, a lot of time management, a lot of delegation or all management concepts I apply to my day-to-day life. So, and then I also have to spend at least 2 to 3 hours exercising, breathing, meditating, resting, and then again I have to recover from all that. And then there is work. So it's like a lot of planning goes into this. There's a lot of balancing as well. Because I can't take breaks for 5 minutes or for 10 minutes. I need to take break for 2 hours at a stretch. Because it takes about 20 minutes for me to go to the restroom and come back. And then I get very tired. So, yes, this is how my days are. But within this, I manage a communication job, which is a complete world by itself, both internal and external communication. We do a lot of good calls, writing, publications. We do a lot of marketing collaterals. I work with designers. I work with PR team. I work with external stakeholders. But yes, with proper planning, I'm able to do all this. And there is a lot of traveling too. Yeah. And to me, every travel is a yatra. For someone who loves geography, geography was my favorite subject. I was always fascinated about places and traveling. But over the years, I found every means of transport closing on. So one by one, I couldn't get onto one or two and go. I couldn't travel by train. I couldn't travel by bus. It's been so many years since I went on a bus. I cherish all those memories. I'm not negating those memories. I cherish all those memories, even though I can't do those things now. Now, I'm being told that flight travels are the easiest and most suitable for me. But when time came for jet setting, that was when after I started this job, flight travel has its own challenge. Every time I fly, I would wonder whether I'll get my paycheck back in one piece. Every time I fly, I train a bunch of people at the airport on handling people with disabilities. I don't get frustrated and I do it very patiently because they have not been exposed to individuals with disabilities or like them. And there will also not so good experiences as well. Because sometimes it's very difficult to convince people to look at your way of things, especially people who handle wheelchairs, who help me out of the aircraft. They will be like, அப்படி இங்கே வந்து நடந்து வந்துருக்கா or be like, no, I could not work. நான் இன்னும் போகுதுதான் இங்கே நடந்து வந்துட்டேன்னா நாங்கள் வீட்டில் கூட்டிட்டு போயிடும். Even I can walk till there. Why wouldn't I walk the rest of the distance? And I've had falls inside the aircrafts. I've had swellings, and it's part of the journey. But whenever I overcome, I wouldn't say overcome. I have accepted all this as part of my travel, but still I take up travel. Nobody forces me. I do it because I want to, and I do it because of my crazy family again. They push me to try out whatever we can, because in future we are not able to travel. And you know, every travel has opened up beautiful opportunities and experiences for me. Recently, I went to Meghalaya last month, and you know, there was a lot of mourning because there is a 7-hour road trip from Guwahati to Shillong, and then 2.5 hours to Cherrapunji. We stayed at Cherrapunji, the better place, and no drop of water should get inside my joystick or my battery or my hearing aids. But still, I went. I had 6 raincoats with me. And we went, and it was a very, very beautiful experience. It was a very bumpy ride, all right, but we did it. You know. And the same way, I had a lot of support from my sister as well. Her name is Lakshmi, like she said. So she was like, you know, whenever she comes with me to office, whenever she waits in the AC hall, she gets very bored, and because of that, she feels very feverish and, you know. So by the time I come back, I come out of my meeting, she will be like, I had a fever from wrong. I will not be able to come out. Every time she will say that, you know, I cannot bear this AC. But I came from to Delhi during winters. You know how Delhi winters can be. Terrible. And this time when I went, there was hailstorm. Yes. I was sure she would quit the job and go. Because she think that I'm not able to manage, but she did. And even sometimes, you know, we travel because there is a very deep family connection. I went to Udaipur with my team 2 years back, and we went to the city palace. No palaces are wheelchair. Most of the palaces. I never been inside palaces after I got into wheelchair, so this was the first time. And the city palace was, of course, it had steps, and my team went inside. My boss came back and so we were trying to somehow find a way to get inside the palace. And you know what? Fortunately, there was an elevator at the palace. Not only a ramp, but there was an elevator. Only because the last Maharaja had been a wheelchair user. Yeah. So that is see, wheelchairs are powerful. We went to and saw the royal wheelchair. So every travel gives me a lot of beautiful experiences. Yes, it comes with so much of pain, so much of falling down, and you know, this time when I got back, I didn't get my seat from the airline. It was missing. So yes, a lot of challenges, but it makes experience freedom.
Thank you for sharing that in so much of detail. Things that a lot of us take for granted, like getting up from bed, using a restroom, or even that is a challenge. And with all that, you traveled, and despite the falls and going to Cherrapunji in the rain when the water should not get into your the battery or the joystick is, according to me, the ultimate yatra, as you claim you have taken,
In other words, it's called irresponsible.
irresponsible. No, I would say that. I mean, I admire you. In fact, there's a song in Tamil. It's very popularized by MS Subbulakshmi, written by Rajaji. It starts Kurai Ondrumillai. So when I hear you talk, that song is playing in my head. Kurai Ondrumillai. That's the way you lead your life, and amazing. Thanks for sharing that background about how you live every day.
I'm drawing the word, a very powerful word, resourcefulness. Resourcefulness is a very important word. See, you can immediately connect with Sundari and use the word resilience. Resilience is the தாங்கிக்கக்கூடிய சக்தி அவங்களுக்கு இருக்கு. நமக்கு எல்லாருக்கும் இருக்கு. Resilience வந்து it is a natural response to life. But அந்த resilience நம்ம கொண்டு வரணும்னாக்கா we need to activate it. அதை ஆக்டிவேட் பண்றது எப்படின்னா இப்போ நம்ம ஃபோன்லலாம் நாங்கள் ஃபோன் எடுத்தால் சத்தம் வரும். ஸோ நம்ம ஃபோன்லலாம் எப்படி ப்ளூடூத் இருக்கோ இன்பில்ட் இட்ஸ் கிவன் பை த மேனுஃபேக்சரர். ஓகே, யூ ஹேவ் டு ஆக்டிவேட் த ப்ளூடூத் ஃபார் யூ டு யூஸ் இட். அதே போல தான் ரெசிலியன்ஸை நம்ம ஆக்டிவேட் பண்ணணும். அண்ட் ரெசிலியன்ஸ் எப்படி ஆக்டிவேட் பண்ணுவீங்கன்னா இவங்க செய்கிற மாதிரி தெர் இஸ் அ ப்ராப்ளம் அண்ட் ஐ ஹாவ் டு ஒர்க் அரவுண்ட் தட் ப்ராப்ளம். அதையே பார்த்துட்டு இருந்தோம், அதே புலம்பிட்டே இருந்தோம்னாக்கா you will get stuck in it, but work around it, and that is where resourcefulness comes in. எது இருக்கோ அதை வச்சுக்கிட்டு மேனேஜ் பண்றது பேரு தான் resourcefulness. இப்போ வீல் சேரால நம்மளால எங்க போக முடியும்? ஏன் போகக்கூடாது? போயிட்டு வரலாமே, போய் தான் பார்ப்போமே. that attitude is resourcefulness, and that's what I'm picking up from you. So I heard you call it a yatra. I would say your entire description of a day in your life, your description of your travel, to me epitomizes the true principle of life, which is every moment is a deep dive. It's a bungee jump. நிஜமா பார்த்தோம்னா அடுத்த வினாடி இங்க என்ன நடக்கும்னு சொல்ல முடியாது. Our life can change in a nanosecond, as we have seen around us all the time happening. So, but we think because we have emotional security, financial security, social security, ஒன்னும் ஆகாது அப்படின்னு இருக்கும். The most fragile thing in the world is your life. In the universe is your life. Anything can happen. And அந்த வினாடியில நம்ம குதிக்கிறது வந்து ஒரு deep dive. That's what you are saying, you are doing. So I would call it adventure. It's very, you're a very adventurous person.
Yeah, there is an adage which has guided my life all along. An adventure is an inconvenience rightly taken. An inconvenience is an adventure wrongly taken.
Wow.
That's why educated is not mine.
They want you to
Can you repeat it?
Can you repeat it?
An adventure is an inconvenience rightly taken. An inconvenience is an adventure wrongly taken.
Thank you. But let me ask you something that's coming into my head right now, a question. In your book you talk about, so you have this adventurous spirit, you have the resilience, fantastic, but in your book you talk about, and a little while ago you talked about other health problems that you have. So in your book I noticed that you talk about your diminishing physical faculties, right? Now, the moment something affects our physicality, our health, our sense of insecurity grows manifold. Okay, it is much bigger. The fear factor is much bigger when it comes to health. So, are you not plagued at any time by fear, insecurity, worry, anxiety? Those debilitating emotions, don't they come to haunt you, Sundari? That on one side you have receding, diminishing physical faculties, your parents are growing older, and you are not knowing. For example, you said, I don't know what's going to happen with my lungs. That's for them to figure out. Okay, but still, how do you deal with fear and insecurity?
Yes, I deal with fear and by being afraid. I feel all these emotions very deeply. I don't avoid those emotions. But there is a difference in the way I deal with them now and when I was younger. Especially in my teens, I was not able to cope with the changing body abilities. Because when I was younger, yes, cerebral palsy was bipolar, but it is not progressive. It's not a progressive condition, but it's not a static condition as well. And the change didn't happen overnight. Not like an accident. You meet with an accident and you lose your abilities, and then you get into rehabilitation, get into go back know how to use your body according to the new physical ability. It was not like that in my case. It happened in installments, It happened over a period of time. There was a lot of change. And I couldn't grapple with that. Till I was 12, 13, till I was 16 years old, I was able to climb stairs. My house was on the 3rd floor, we didn't have lifts. Initially, it was taking me less time and less energy to climb. But over a period of 2 years, it was becoming very difficult to climb. And I would fall down in between, fall down on the steps, and slowly moved house to the ground floor. And then I lost it completely. Not because moving to the ground floor, I was losing it anyway. It was just making it difficult. And when I was a kid, I used to dance. I used to be on the wall and dance. I'd given stage performance at my best schools, pastor. I used to participate in sports. But and I could lift both my hands above my head. But over the years, I could not do all that. And with those abilities, I was trying to find an identity. Where do I stand? Do I have this ability? Will I have it tomorrow? Because tomorrow it may not be there. One day I was able to write well, the next day I wouldn't be able to write. So it was so confusing for me, especially with my hearing. Hearing was as it is. When you have a hearing challenge, it's more difficult than having a physical challenge because it's obvious and this is not obvious. And I found it difficult to convince even my parents in this case. She was hearing is fine. But just because you need a lot of concentration to do your other things, you're not able to listen to others. When I was listening, I was doing everything I could. I could not hear sometimes. Sometimes I could hear that. So how do I explain to people? I kept telling them, can you be a little louder? And they would be louder, but still I wouldn't be able to make out the words in any language. So it was very difficult for me. I would get into weeks of depression. I would get into, I would cry, not in front of everyone. I would cry at home, and it was difficult for me. And especially I didn't know how to express it to my friends. Because I felt my friends had a different life. When I was 15 years old, 15, 16, they were occupied with whether to take science or arts, whether to do engineering or medicine, or they were, arguing about which actor you like or which first person you like. But for me, I was struggling with going to the toilet for that day. In my school, it was the last 2 years I was not able to use the restroom. So if I leave the house at 7:30 in the morning or come back at 4:30, throughout that time I wouldn't use the restroom. So that was adding to my pressure. It was difficult. And then when I went to college, I had a different kind of friends. I had a beautiful set of friends in school too, but I was not mature enough. And in college, and over a period of time, I began to identify what made me sad or depressed. I began to somehow, get into my mind, and I began to identify everything in my life. What happened? So most of this would be like falling down in front of others, or not being able to go to some place because of access issues. For example, when I was in class 12, we had an offer to do a computer course, and we all went there on a Saturday. I found it's a commercial building with very narrow staircase. All my friends were there, and they spoke to me, and then they went up. And there was no way I could climb those steps. So I said, yeah, that's fine, okay, I have to give it up, and I came home. But I was feeling very upset. I kept on thinking about this bigger opportunity. Like that, lots of other incidents. So I realized this is not in my control. That did not happen overnight again. That acceptance and yes, it happened because of a lot of reading. I used to write journals. So when I wrote journals, I was able to pinpoint those emotions. I was able to pinpoint the source of those emotions as well. So once you're clear with that, you know, okay, I'm feeling bad because I fell down. Then I realized nobody was feeling bad about that. Only I was feeling bad. I was getting embarrassed. I was feeling ashamed because I fell down in front of my class. Nobody was, they were not concerned. They said, are you okay? And they would go away, they would help me. But I was replaying that scene in my mind again and again, and I was feeling that. I was replaying forgoing this opportunity because of accusation. Nobody cared. So I decided I wouldn't care. Because for every door which closed, there was a lot of door which was open. And the moment I accepted those emotions, let me tell you here, those emotions never go away. That feeling of unfairness or, now it is not unfairness. It is an unpleasant feeling. It is not an unfairness, it is an unpleasant feeling. And I will go through that and be done with that. That is how it is. And as for my parents growing old, yes, I think about it a lot. And in my case, when I still live with them at 35, normally others don't. They have their own personal sense. So, I cannot say that I'm prepared for a time when they will not be with me. Because nobody can be prepared for that. At the best I can say that I will celebrate this life which they helped to nurture with so much of love. Because that is the least I can give to them. Again, I believe that the same cosmic force which has taken care of me till now will take care of me in future as well.
I want to explore faith. I'll let Vaani explore faith. That's a very powerful point at which you ended. But just for everyone's benefit, very significant point where I face fear by being afraid. You deal with sadness by accepting it. Don't resist it. If you feel sad, if you feel down, if you feel afraid, face it. Don't resist it. Whatever you resist will persist. So, when you accept it, you will often find all the debilitating emotions that come to you, that haunt you. They will present themselves to you as being extremely futile. When you understand the futility of being afraid, when you understand the futility of sadness, you will set it down and you will move on. Look at her life, look at our life, look at your life. One thing is for sure, all of us are only temporarily abled. We think we are all fine, but it's all temporary. This kannadi itself that I'm wearing is like her wheelchair to me. I need this to see. All of us are going to have our faculties go away one after the other. Right?
So which means I gained wisdom at a young age.
Exactly. I was about to come to that point. You've learned it so early on. You've understood it so early on. And that's a blessing. The other thing is death. The moment we look at death, we don't like the sight of death. But death is a constant companion from the moment you are born. If there is something that you can be sure about in life, is that you're going to die. And everyone around you is going to die. Be prepared. Accept it. We are all speeding towards our deaths at different speeds. So when you are alive, in the வாழ்க்கை இருக்கும் வரை தான் celebration. Celebrate. That's what I'm picking up from you. So it's important that we discuss this. Do not resist fear. Do not resist the negative emotions. Understand them. You become aware of their futility. Set them down. Then every moment will be a celebration.
Yeah, I just want to pick up from the last part of what you said, Sundari. I want to ask you about faith. Okay, and when I say faith, I'm not talking about God or a religion or a practice or a ritual or anything like that. You spoke about celebrating life, and whatever energy has created you will help you take you forward. So that brought me to this question on faith. What are your thoughts on faith? And what are your thoughts on people saying everything happens for a reason? What do you think of that? Do you believe in that? Do you believe in destiny?
I truly believe in. For me, nothing makes more sense than everything happens for a reason. When I came to Odyssey and had I been able to join or event, maybe I would have just spoken to you after this time.
Correct.
We would have shared a couple of words and I would have gone my way. But on that day, I was not able to attend your event. But still, I stayed there because I felt good about it. And where it has brought us. Look forward to my work and now very much part of my life. And I was also part of this conversation. Odyssey was not accessible, but that brought us to this wonderful heritage place called MLS. So this is amazing. This is faith. And I think faith is also about trusting our struggles. When we go through a lot of pain, let us just trust that, yes, for now it is painful, and don't think about it. Think about it as it's difficult. Just go through it. Trust that it's going to anywhere, and it will take you to a place which is magical, which is beautiful. For example, I'm just sharing something from my life again. I had always been a thyroid. I've been a top performer in school, in college, in spite of all the challenges, because that was a ticket to self-respect and dignity from a very young age. Because you're a topper and all friends respect you in some way, of course, not always that way. There is so much of, I got a lot of love and affection, irrespective of the marks I scored or how well I performed, but that was my mindset. And I had always wanted a corner cubicle, I wanted to call the shots, and I wanted a leadership position in time. But when I started working, I realized sitting at one place for 11 hours was very, very difficult. And within 2 years, I had to let go of that job because it was also not my passion, though it gave me a lot of beautiful memories. And then I took up a job at the New Indian Express as a actor. There was a dream come true. Again, there was a challenge because it was a night job. I was an editor. I was in the editorial department, was from 5 in the evening till 1 at night after papers go printed. Mentally, I was able to do it, but physically, I was not able to do it. That was the time I got thyroid and blood pressure. So but still I did not give it up because it was a passion. I was living the dream job. I can't give it up because of back pain or because of thyroid. That's what I told myself. And promoting was also becoming very difficult. Some of my family, my father, my brother, my sister would come and drop me, and again they would come and pick me up at 1 o'clock in the night. And then I would come back home, eat at 2, 2:30, sleep at 4. My body was a total wreck in 2 years. And at one point I was battling with insomnia. Complete sleeplessness for 2 or 3 weeks at a stretch, and it was very difficult. I didn't want to, around I didn't know how to deal with that. Then I decided I was not going ahead with this traditional job, what everybody else is doing. I need to realign my life. It's not. So, in our country, working from home is still looked upon or looked down. It's like, you don't need a career, you're just passing time. That is a mindset now. But I wanted a work from home option. I wanted to be flexible. At the same time, I wanted to a competitive environment. I wanted to use all my core competencies. So I was praying. I wouldn't say, yes, I was praying for this. I was sending out all thoughts to the universe, and I took a sabbatical for 1 year. I was writing during that year. I was doing freelancing for the United States. But still, time and again I would break down because I was wasting my skills, I was wasting my education, and I realized that this is not going to change with the condition. If I take up a 11-hour job or whatever, 8 to 9-hour job, full-time at a company, I would again come back to this health problem. So I was at a loss, but I was just hoping, I was trusting in my struggles. And then I got the opportunity to work at HCL Foundation as a communication specialist. And they said, you can come twice or thrice a week. And I couldn't believe it. The portfolio was very demanding. But I carry all that out at my house. And it's been 6 years now. I get a lot of opportunity to travel. I get to interact with the top leadership. Mr. Shivnada launched my book in Madurai in February. And so yes, your life may not be like others. You may not have a reference point to model yourself on. But you trust in struggle, you start creating your own model in full faith, giving your best. I think your purpose will be taken up to us.
This is amazing that you use this word purpose. It's phenomenal that you talk about that, because I want to pick up about what you said on faith. You said that irrespective of what you've been given, it might be painful, but you have to believe that it's going to take you to a better place. I was reminded of the song, Ilayaraja song, Tamil song, which says, Maratha Vechavan, Tanni Mutuma. You have to believe that if you have been created, you will be looked after. And, in the end, you spoke about this purpose part, which is revealed to you. When you do something that you really enjoy, what you've been created for will find you. You don't have to go and find it. It will find you. And that is your purpose. And it's so beautiful you say this, because this very same thing happened to Avis and me. Because when we were going through this crisis and we were trying to understand why are we put in a situation where we have no money and we have to bring up 2 teenage children, we got to look after an aged father. So how do we do all of this? That's when, magically we realized that our purpose was actually coming to us. And the purpose was inspiring happiness. We didn't realize it, that the reason why, you said that whatever you're going through is taking you to a nice place. And later we realized that, this is where it was taking us. Thank you, universe. Thank you for bringing us where you brought us today. So I can so relate to what you said.
I'd like to add, again, draw from what she's saying and add a little bit there. Trust your struggles. Virikadi, nesikya aramika. That point. Trust your struggles. It's there for a reason, and it's there to reveal your life's purpose to you. Amazing. I would define faith as trusting the process of life itself. And the process of life is lows and highs. It's not a straight line. We are made to imagine that if you study well, you will get good marks. If you get good marks, you will get a good job. If you get a good job, you will earn an income. If you earn an income, you can have a family, marry, procreate, reproduce, have children, then put them through the same straight line logic. But it's not a straight line. Somewhere there, a cerebral challenge will come. Somebody may die. Somebody may go bankrupt. Anything can happen.
Debilitating. And my brother, he was actually called Dean in the class by his friends, and my uncle, whose hobby was bodybuilding. Okay. So you can actually understand boys were extreme gentlemen when I was around. Because they know the kind of men they have to deal with at the end of the day, if otherwise. And even my girlfriends, they were very protective. Even if a boy extended his hands, so they come and they would be like, we'll take care of it, you'll mind your own business. So, and then I was in a girls' college. So the only men who were there were the guest lecturers, and they were not interested. Okay. So, finally I got a word among men. I was 22, and my family should be happy that I didn't fall in love with every boy. He came and told me that I look beautiful. I'm not boasting. I got a lot of comments, and I learned to take it, okay, thank you, that's all. So, I did not flirt back, or I did not encourage any kind of closeness. The jokes part, yes, I did think a lot about companionship. And I have written about Dr. Chandra in my book.
Yes.
Was a role model to me in many ways. And when we met her, I was 9 years old, and we saw that she had a loving husband, she had a son, and she had a beautiful house, and she was absolutely comfortable and on her own. So that was a motivation for when I was very young, and I did not think for a moment that physical ability, just because I have cerebral palsy, I should stay away from relationships or companionship. I never thought like that. But at the same time, there were certain expectations I had. Not expectations, there were certain thoughts and values I had on companionship. And one was equality in companionship. I know someone from Sebastian. She was younger than me, much younger than me. And we used to chat up when I was younger, when I went there for my exercises. And she was well educated, she was well bred, very smart and intelligent. A couple of years later, when I met her, when I was around 16, she was married. And when I saw the husband, I was slightly taken aback. I'm not going to judge her life. But still at that time, I was taken aback because he was from a suburban area, and so freezed, and he did not speak like her. I think there was a lot of imbalance. And when mom was talking to her, she told, it makes my parents happy. So I realized she was not happy. She got married because marriage was considered to be essential in our society. Someone who was not married is almost an outcast. Now we see a lot of people remaining single, consider that vision is there. And I saw that just because it is norm, I'm not going to get married. So that was HCL. And I was also worried that, not worried, but one thought that weighed down on me was, I didn't want the relationship to be like that of a patient and a nurse in due course of time. Because I always needed help. There was no denying it. And I didn't want it to be like that of a caregiver and a judge. I was thinking about all that, and I was thinking about respect, dignity, the relationships as well. And purpose, companionship. Yes, we may not have the same kind of hobbies or same kind of upbringing or anything, but the values matter. values matter. And these are the things which I don't know, which were with me whenever the topic of companionship came up. And I did not feel any kind of pressure just because my friends were getting married, just because my younger cousins and my baby cousins were getting married. I just had one pride though. Because my baby cousins, whenever they got married, they would fall at my feet. And they would make me feel very ashamed. So, that's something. But other than that, I do not feel that. But yes, it is also about how good you are being alone. I'm not talking about loneliness here. That is different. You can feel lonely in that relationship. You can feel lonely in that unless a lot of people. I'm talking about being alone and being solitary, doing all the things that I want to do. And I'm not creative best, I'm not productive best when I'm on my own. But having said that, right now I don't feel very strongly about companionship. I'm fine being with myself, being myself. But in future, at any point of time, if at all I feel strongly about the need for a companion, then I do not worry. I just have to send the thought to the universe, and the universe will be setting motion. But for that, I need to feel strongly first.
Thank you. That was a very well-rounded view of companionship as an idea itself. And I'm glad I asked that question because a lot of things came out from it. I'll pick up just two quick points. One is that the idea of companionship far overrides the beaten-to-death idea of marriage. That's one important thing I pick up. And that's what we both believe in also. We both are together not because we are married. I think if I can undo my marriage certificate, I'll be the happiest person. Because I've told my two adult children, go be happy. Live in, drop out, do whatever you want, be happy. The second is, are you happy in the relationship? Or are you in it because you want to make other people happy? Choose your happiness. That's the point that you brought out so beautifully in telling the anecdote about your friend. So thank you for that. I am going to ask you a rapid fire short question. The shortest answer because I have to do a wrap and hand it over to TS. So since this is about happiness, how would you describe happiness? What is your idea of happiness?
Okay. I would say that happiness is to do with fulfilling your purpose. It's to do with being calm and composed. Going good for us, but when the going gets tough, when you are losing your health, when you lose someone precious, it's very difficult at that time. But still, it's about contented and moving forward.
Happiness is a choice, she said, and I totally agree. And I want to say that the attitude that Sundari brings to her life, her idea of happiness is not surprising me at all. It's very serene. Thank you for that word. It's very serene. So we confuse happiness as linked to a destination. If I get this, I will be happy. If this comes to me, I will be happy. If this person agrees to what I am saying, I'll be happy. So there is a conditionality that we impose. There is a destination that we impose. Happiness is neither. It is a decision. It's a decision that you and I need to take, which is why we spell happiness with a Y. You have to make that choice. You have to decide to be happy despite the circumstances. And the way you can be happy is remove all the factors in your life that make you unhappy. Remove the people, remove the attitudes. Sometimes you can't remove the situation. She can't remove cerebral palsy. I can't say bankruptcy, go away tomorrow morning. I want a fresh start. Give me a jackpot. I need to repay my debt. It's not happening. So you cannot remove certain situations, but you can change your attitude. So remove the attitude that's making you unhappy. Remove the people that make you unhappy. It is possible. It is possible. You believe you should read Fall Like a Rose Petal. And I can tell you, just in the case of Sundari, there is Sivagami. But in my case, my mother called me a cheat. And I had to remove her from my life. And I had to say, Amma, I have a duty as a son. And I'll perform it when it is called for. But at the moment, we don't have a relationship because I can't relate to you. It's a hard decision. You have to make it. So I don't think it gets more complex than a mother-son, mother-child situation. You know? So I'm not holding anything against my mother. And I don't think happiness, when you make the choices, when you decide, will allow even an iota of grief or hatred to come. That's the beauty of this whole idea of happiness. So I'd like to conclude today's session by saying what I'm picking up from Sundari is, I'm sorry, I'm going to close this, looking at the time. So I'm going to draw from a very forgettable film, okay, starring Vijay. We started with a Tamil song, so I'll end with a Tamil song. It's a very forgettable film, but the song was a big hit, sung by A.R. Rahman. It's from a movie called Azhagiya Tamil Magan. Ella pugalum oruvanu oruvanikku nee nadi pole odikondu. I love the second line. And in the early stages of our bankruptcy, when we were like not even accepting it, this song was released and it caught my imagination so much that I explored the idea of nee nadi pole odikonduduna enna solranga. What is Vaani saying in that song? Flow with life. Life is flowing. This moment is flowing. It's 90 minutes since we started the conversation. It's flown. So you flow with life. You go with it. And don't resist it. If you resist it, you're finished. Mary Oliver, one of my favorite poets, an American, says, all I want to do in life is to be dazzled. To be dazzled, to cast away the weight of facts. To cast away the weight of facts. And maybe float just a little above this difficult world. So she says that in life she wants to be dazzled, be amazed by every moment. And she wants to cast away the weight of facts, cast away the reality. And when you cast away the reality, you begin to float above this difficult world. That's what the Bumblebee teaches us. Cast away the weight of facts. The facts say that you cannot fly. The facts says that a cerebral palsy person is doomed for life. But she's cast it away. And she is in a state where she's floating a little above this difficult world, celebrating every moment. That's what I want to leave you all with, on behalf of Vaani and me, and on behalf of Sundari. We wish you all much love and happiness. Thank you for joining us. A couple of announcements before I hand it over to TS. The book is on sale. It's a fascinating book. If you don't read books, buy you a copy and give it to people who read books, people who need inspiration. Sundari will be happy to sign them for you. Talk to her, talk to us, connect with us. If you want to follow...
But my signature will not be the same in every book.
Sorry?
My signature will not be the same in every book.
I'm glad you made that point.
That's no excuse for not signing.
Follow us, happynesswalas. Look for us on Google, and you will find a lot of links leading back to us. Join our programs. We are doing a program later this month at Odyssey called Bliss Catchers. That's on July 27th, 7 p.m. at Odyssey Bookstore in Adyar. And then the next program we have is on August 31, which is the 50th edition of our Bliss Catchers program. Series. It's the 50th edition. It's a big event. It's a 2-hour event starting at 7 p.m. Again at Odyssey Bookstore, Adyar. And the Happiness Conversations, the next edition, is scheduled for the 28th of September. So starting this month, Happiness Conversation will come only once in 2 months. It used to be a monthly program. We're moving the frequency to a bi-monthly. So July 27 Bliss Catchers, August 31 Bliss Catchers, And September 28, we have Happiness Conversations. We have two wonderful human beings on that show with us. We have K.S. Narendran, whose wife was on MH370, which went missing. We have him talking about what it means not to have closure in life. And we have another gentleman, R.V. Rajan, who lost his wife to cancer, who talks about how you celebrate people who have gone away from your life. So the two of them coping with loss, but how are they managing? What can we learn from them? That's what we are exploring September 28th and the next edition of Happiness Conversation. Over to you, T.S. Thank you, everyone. So much love for all of you who have come. I'm sorry if you could not hear much of this at the back. We tried to do our best with the available resources. Over to you, T.S.
So like you mentioned, thanks for adjusting with the available resources. As you would know, this is a resort. I just want to make 2 points, my takeaway from the beautiful talk. Like I was mentioning, everyone is going to die someday. But life starts when you start living. And when you start living means you do it with happiness, you do it with joy. And every day you wake up to look forward to something. That may be a person, that may be work, that may be something, a book, that may be anything, to nature, and you will be the Bumblebee for us. From today, whenever we think about Bumblebee, Sundari will come to our mind. And also I'll close with something. துச்சமாக எண்ணி நம்மை தூறு செய்த போதிலும் அச்சமில்லை அச்சமில்லை அச்சம் என்பதில்லையே. ரொம்ப நன்றி இன்னைக்கு வந்ததுக்கு. Thank you AVIS sir, thank you Vaani ma'am, and thank you so much Sundari இன்னைக்கு வந்ததுக்கு, and thanks to all of you.
I'm being here to sharing facilities from my life with this great couple. I think this is a magical thing. Thank you very much for giving this opportunity. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you. Thank you all.
1 minute.
Yes.
I've got a short form for Sundari, which is DIY.
DIY is a short form for you, and you know what it stands for? Daily Inspirational Yatra. So, it's been a wonderful session, and there's so much I could take off, but can I just take 2 minutes of your time?
Yes.
So, Avis mentioned something about self-pity. Why me? Why me? So something that I tell all my patients is that when you use the word, why me? And you say that I haven't harmed a fly. Why is this happening to me? I haven't done anything wrong. It's so unfair. Now when you go down that route, it is like digging your own grave. And where does the mud go? It goes on to you. And so you keep getting pushed further and further. And a time comes where it might be very difficult for you to come out. In fact, even if Anjaneya is flying overhead and he said, there's Nija, let me help her. Nija is not open.
Yes.
Nija is not accepting. Nija is not there because she's so busy with herself. Self-pity, why me? Whereas if you were receptive, and as you are, you've got a direct connect with the universe, you speak to the universe, you let the universe know what you want, and my blessings are that whatever you need, or even think of remotely that you desire, may it be yours forever. Thank you.
And a small token of our love and affection from MLS. So we call Sujata ma'am our member, Uma ma'am and Nagam sir. A small token of our love from MLS to you. Yes.
You are so special to me because for the last 15 years I have been interning with a special person in my life, my granddaughter who is special. So I feel people are really special. I got so much idea from you today. I call my special granddaughter also. I learned many things from her. I learned loving people more from her.
They are really, really special.
So this is on behalf of Madras Literary Society.
Madras Literary Society, which I always call my happy hunting grounds. One of my happy hunting grounds. I always hover around here.
Oh, at the time I was founded after.
Uh-huh.
I wanted to be here.
Oh,
It happened only today.
And you know, a song happened here in Mount Ravan, and we would like to sing a happy birthday song to our heroine of today. So it was her birthday yesterday. So after a long time, can we all sing happy birthday? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Sundari. Happy birthday to you.
So you're all bent on making me special. Special. We didn't make you special.
Tears of happiness.
You are special, always special.
I think there are some snacks also served, so please help yourself outside.
Yes, outside, please.
The book is here.
Yes.